Trap 1. Superiority. We're going to go from page 296 to the end of 303. Trap 1. Superiority. There are two kinds of pride, both good and bad. Good pride represents our dignity and self-respect. Bad pride is the deadly sin of superiority that reeks of conceit and arrogance. John Maxwell. High performers face a unique set of character traps because they are, by definition, outperforming so many around them. When you are succeeding beyond others, it's easy to get a big head. You can begin to think you're special, separate from, better than, or more important than other people. That was obvious in my conversations with Don, and it's what others were sharing about him. This is a way of thinking that you must avoid at all costs. Of course, you probably would never say to yourself, one day I want to start feeling that I'm better than other people. No one wants to join the ranks of the egomaniacs, narcissists, braggarts, or elitists. You sense that this is true because you've likely met someone who truly believed they were superior to you or others. You can probably think of 5 people like that right now, and I bet you don't have a positive association with any of them. Superiority has no positive connotation in a healthy mind. But I'm here to talk about those people. I'm here to caution you that as you get more successful, you can quickly fall prey to the same fatal error. In fact, I'm here to suggest that you, like all humans, are already guilty of subtle thoughts and actions that point to feelings of superiority. I'll show you mine. There we go. Okay, you might not be demonstrating a bombastic ego, but there are hundreds of shades and degrees of superiority. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to hold this properly to be snooty, so I'm just going to give it up for now. Have you recently thought that some of the people you work with are idiots? That your ideas are always better? Yes, that qualifies. Not asking your team to review your big presentation and find its errors or omissions because you got this. Uh-oh. Getting cut off in traffic, then racing ahead to cut that guy off just to show him who's boss? Yup. Arguing your point over and over to your spouse even though they have been clear about their position and are not budging? Check. Failing to review your work because it's always good enough? Dang. Cat's distracting. Minimizing someone else so you look better? Oops. Discounting another person's ideas because they haven't put in the time you have? Anything here seem familiar? See, superiority draws us off track a quarter an inch at a time. When it has a firm hold on us, we begin acting like jerks. We stop asking people for their input or help because we think we're always right. That's because we are. We lose awareness of others' contributions and powers. We end up soloing, and we destroy the sense of connection and camaraderie that makes high achievement fun and worthwhile. We dismiss people, and we speak in tones of condescension. We start falling prey more often to confirmation bias, interpreting what we see as confirmation of our own beliefs, while neglecting or discounting the evidence against us. We lose ourselves to thoughts of superiority that ultimately destroy our relationships and our performance. The good news is you can learn to spot exactly when and how these thoughts arise in your mind, and with that knowledge you can avoid buying into them. When is the easy part. The roots of superiority always begin to grow in the soil of separateness and certainty. It's that moment when you begin to think you are separate from others, or certain about anything, that you are in greatest danger. Dun dun dun. Here's how to know when superiority has infiltrated your mind. You think you're better than another person or group. That's because I am. 2, you are so amazingly good at what you do that you don't feel you need feedback, guidance, diverse viewpoints, or support. No, I don't. I totally do. I totally do. Okay. 3, you feel that you automatically deserve people's admiration or compliance because of who you are, what position you hold, or what you've accomplished. That's crazy. Okay. 4, you feel that people don't understand you at all. No, they don't. So all those fights and failures are surely not your fault. It's that they just can't appreciate your situation or the demands, obligations, or opportunities you have to sort through daily. When any of these realities is a constant in your life, you've begun the decline, even if you don't know it yet. What these thoughts have in common is a sense of separateness. You just feel so much more capable or accomplished than others that in your mind, there's you at the top and then everyone else. It's in the separateness that fueled Dawn's belief that it's lonely at the top. Yet Dawn isn't alone. A lot of people believe this bizarre idea. People say it because they think others can't possibly comprehend their lives. The problem is this thought is inaccurate and obscenely destructive. If you ever feel as if the world can't understand you, and I won't bother looking for a gentler way to say this, it's time to pop the bubble you've been hanging out in. Better analogy, man. We have thousands of years of recorded human history and over 7 billion people walk this earth today. The odds are pretty good that someone somewhere has gone through what you're going through and can easily understand your situation and advise you through it. All isolation is ultimately self-imposed. This is a difficult truth to relay to people who feel that no one can understand them or their situation. Here's the satisfying playing. I can't tell you how many times I've had to kindly tell someone to abandon their sense of separateness in truly difficult situations. You're not the first entrepreneur to face financial ruin. You're not the first parent to lose a child. You're not the first manager to be cheated by an employee. You're not the first lover to be cheated on. You're not the first striver to lose your dream. You're not the first CEO to run a large global company. You're not the first healthy person to find yourself suddenly battling cancer. You're not the first person to deal with depression or addiction in yourself or a loved one. When we're facing any of these difficulties, it's easy to feel that we're the only one going through the struggle, but that feeling is pure illusion. There's no human emotion or situation you're contending with that someone, somewhere, cannot understand if you're vulnerable and real and open enough to share your thoughts, feelings, and challenges. Yes, you can keep telling yourself that your spouse can't possibly understand, and if you never try, that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Their lack of understanding only grows in your silence. Yes, you can tell yourself that no one on your team gets it, but that's just your ego blinding you to the value that others can ultimately add. Discounting others doesn't make you a greater person. You are just choosing to be more separate, ultimately making yourself more vulnerable to failure. I know that when you're trapped in hardship, these statements can feel judgmental or oblivious of your reality. But I respectfully share these ideas with you because I've seen so many good people lose it all. Not through ill intent, but through a sense of separateness that soon makes them dismiss others or fail to ask for help. It never hurts to remind strivers that we all are one human family and that there are really only 2 stories in the human narrative, both of which we all can know and connect to. You might recall these 2 stories are struggle and progress. People can understand your struggle. They can understand your wins, and they can understand tough choices, even if themselves have never had to make them. If you don't believe it, then you're telling yourself a story that's not natural, that's disconnected from the reality of 7 billion people who all have hearts and hurts and dreams. Often when I meet high performers who are so good that they are indeed at the top of their particular food chain, the CEO, the world champion athlete, the most popular person in school, the smartest woman in the room, I'll have to go further than this oneness argument. I'll have to remind them that someone somewhere is smarter, earns more, serves better, trains harder, and positively affects more people than they do. I don't say that to diminish these paragons, but to connect them to another reality, that whoever you are, What seems a big issue to you might be separating you from others in your circle of influence, might be child's play to a bigger fish in another pond. That perspective can prove hopeful. Someone out there has already solved the dilemma, mastered the thing that you believe makes you so different from others. If you can find them, you can find a mentor, a solution, and a path back to reality and humility. A few more points about the lonely at the top syndrome, just because it's so coercive. First, I've rarely met a high performer who thinks they're at the top. Most feel like they're just getting started. That's me, like every day. They understand they're still students of life, and no matter how stellar their success, they feel that they're just a few steps in on the path of mastery. This is widely held attitude with the top scorers of our assessments whom I interviewed. Second, here's a special reminder if you've begun dismissing other people's capabilities. You can't maximize your potential while minimizing others. What you've attained in life isn't because you're all that special, but because you're all that blessed. The reality is that a large part of the differentiation in performance at your level comes down to the habits we've discussed, which anyone can begin implementing, augmented by exposure, training, practice, and access to excellence-driven mentors, coaches, or role models. That's why I often have to remind the superior mind, you're not better than anyone. You likely just got more exposure to your topic. You had more information or opportunity available to you. You got trained better. You had the opportunity to put in more passion or deliberate practice over more time. You had the opportunity to receive good feedback and guidance. These things are not inherent to who you are. These things, if given to another person, will help them rise to your level. True? If you don't answer yes, please shake hands with your ego. This isn't just my opinion. In almost all studies on expert performance, the major thing that made the difference was not a person's innate talents, but the hours of exposure and deliberate practice. In the world of talent, expertise, or sustained world-class performance, there's no longer a debate of nature versus nurture. The myth of the naturally superior human has been deconstructed and obliterated by research across dozens of fields. This warrants the simplest of reminders. Don't judge others as below or separate from you. Your frustration with people is coming from a forgetfulness that almost everyone could succeed at a higher level if they had more exposure, training, practice, and access to excellent mentors, coaches, or role models. Remember, everything is trainable. That doesn't mean everyone will request the training, put in the hard work, reach number one, or have as much grit as you, but everyone is capable of success. Everyone can win at life. So let's be honest. You were once a mess too. Or did you forget that already? But you improved. Give the others that same opportunity. When you remember that you too struggled, and you remind yourself that others can dramatically improve themselves, that's when you start to be more compassionate. That's when you start to beat back any hint of superiority complex. But even knowing this, we haven't won the fight just yet. Thoughts of separateness are just seedlings of superiority. If you want to watch the complex bloom, just till those thoughts in the soil of certainty. Imagine how much more insufferable a person becomes when they are certain of things we've discussed so far. 1. They are certain they are better than another person or group. 2. They are certain they are tops of what they do, so they're certain they don't need feedback, guidance, diverse viewpoints, or support. 3. They certainly deserve people's admiration or compliance because of who they are, where they came from, or what they've earned or accomplished. 4. They're certain that people don't understand them, and any fights and failures are certainly not their fault. They're not my fault, I swear. My guess is you wouldn't exactly be inspired by working with a person like this. People like this aren't only separate from others and thus dismissive of their ability to understand or help, they also become condescending towards others. You know what your mind has tipped into the condescension the moment you start hearing yourself say, "What's wrong with these idiots?" When someone makes a mistake and you think, "What a moron," before asking whether they had sufficient clarity, information, or support. When someone doesn't work as hard as you and you think, "Why are they so lazy? What is wrong with them?" When you start seeing others as wrong or inadequate for life, then you've fallen so far into the trap of superiority that you are in danger of destroying your own connection with others and your ability to lead. Superior-minded people are certain they are better, more capable, more deserving, and that it's that certainty that closes their minds to learning, connection with others, and ultimately growth. The more you absolutely believe anything, the more likely you are to become blinded to new perspectives and opportunities. The moment someone becomes absolutely certain is the moment superiority has won. For all these reasons, we must beware of separateness and certainty. So what's the solution? I found that the first step is always awareness. You have to be alert and catch yourself when you start thinking you're separate from others for any reason. Second, you need to develop habits that will help you stay humble and open even as you get better at what you do. Humility is the foundational virtue that enables many other virtues to grow. It is associated with positive outcomes like marital fidelity, cooperation, compassion for others, strong social bonds, general group acceptance, optimism, hope, decisiveness, comfort with ambiguity, and openness to experience. It's also tied to our willingness to admit gaps in current knowledge and the tendency to feel guilty after wrongdoing.